No. Come on, where is it?
Dave, it's your Idaho Central app here. Any chance you're missing a debit card? Let's get that taken care of for you. With ICCU's card control, you can turn any card off with the tap of your finger.
You got it.
And back on again. Out, 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 out. The closest Idaho Central Credit Union branch is in your pocket.
It's the fall kickoff sale at Lithia Ford of Boise. We're going all the way so you can score more for your trade-in and trade up to a new Ford truck or SUV today. Visit Lithia Ford of Boise, where Ford begins in Idaho.
It's time for the postgame show from Bronco Nation News. We're breaking down the game with highlights, interviews, analysis, and most importantly, you. Give your thoughts on the game in the YouTube chat or Facebook comments, and we'll include the best ones on the show. All Bronco Nation news broadcasts come from the Western Collective Studios. Head down to Western Collective's locations in Garden City or downtown Boise to try some of their delicious beers, including the Horseshoe Golden Ale, the first beer to support an NIL collective. Now let's head out and join BJ Rains for the postgame show from Bronco Nation News.
All right, how we doing? Welcome on into the post-game show here. Let's fix the phone. There we go. Hope you guys can hear me okay. Boise State falls in this one. The Broncos, man, I mean, can't wait to get to some of these comments. I'm sure you guys got them in. Keep them coming, and we'll take them here on the Jacksons Postgame Show. We appreciate Jacksons, sponsor of our postgame show. Boise State falls in this one. Final score, 84-65. They actually win the second half, 44-36. If you're looking for a positive there, they started, I think, 1 of 18 from 3. Finally hit a couple of threes, but this game was over thanks to the 23-2 run to start the second half, or excuse me, to end the first half. Boise State was down 6. John Buchanan says that was rough. I think we're going to talk to your son, John. I feel bad that he's the player. He played good, and he's the one that's going to be stuck, I think, talking about this one after the game. He's walking down right now, it looks like. But he was one of the few bright spots tonight. 14 points, 6 of 10 shooting, 26 minutes. I really do feel like he should be playing a little more. I think you're probably going to get him in the starting lineup at some point here. We'll see. But I thought Javin Buchanan, 14 points. Tyson Degenhart, 14 points. Another positive, Pearson Carmichael comes in 7 minutes and has 8 points. But overall, not a lot of positives for Boise State in this one. They let New Mexico shoot 54.4% from the field. Boise State ends up shooting 44% thanks to some late buckets there. But this one was not as close as the 19-point spread indicates at the end of the game. Boise State just dominated from start to finish. Got down early, 10-2, and just never had, they didn't have Max Rice this year to pull them out of a tough spot with 7 threes, and they just couldn't hit anything. They were 1 for 18 from three-point range at one point. They finished 5 of 24 But a couple things that stick out to me: 29 fast break points, 29-10 on the fast break points, and points off turnovers. They got 20 as well. So 29 and 20. I'm going to write that down. But just a disappointing game from start to finish for Boise State. Did not see this one coming. Did not see this one coming at all. Boise State ends up 29-29 on the rebounding edge. As I said, they fought, in the second half there and did all that they could. Apparently, by the way, there was a sign for me in the crowd. John Mallory was sending me a text. I didn't see that, and I guess they showed it on the broadcast. Even I was taking shrapnel that I can't write from some fans in the crowd. So glad that they're at least reading if they know that I can't write. So that was. You don't see it coming. No, I did not see them losing by 19 on the road at New Mexico coming. Sorry, Kurt. I did not see that coming at all. So, no, they were only underdogs by 3. Wasn't sure they'd win, but I certainly thought they would compete and have a chance to win. And they certainly did not, just didn't have it for a good chunk of the game. Just didn't have it for a good chunk of the game. Coach Rice, I think, is going to join us first, and we'll get Coach Rice's thoughts after this one. Boise State falls by 19. Coach Leon Rice, kind enough to join us here. Coach, didn't see this one coming tonight, obviously. You guys have really been playing well and shooting the 3 well and do so many well these last 3 games. And then just from the start, they just took control tonight.
Well, they were the most physical team. And, we've done a good job. I mean, we're a pretty physical team. And it wasn't even close in the first half how much more physical they were than us. And, in this building, they're pretty much allowed to do it.
Yeah.
And so you got to be able to, you got to be tough enough to play through it. And, there's no way to sugarcoat it, though. They just kind of punked us the first half. And I was happy with our response. Second half, we got high character guys, but, that big of a hole to dig out of. But no, we saw this on tape with what they did to San Diego State in here. And then coming off the loss, we knew we were going to see a team that was ready to go. And, like I said, I thought that with our team, we've been pretty consistent with our physicality.
Yeah.
And that wasn't there.
29 fast break points too, and that's something in this building you just can't let them do. Get out and run.
No, but the biggest thing was 17 points in the first half off turnovers, and that,
which resulted in a lot of those fast break layups.
All of them,
yeah.
And it was just turnovers for touchdowns over and over again, and that was cumulative, and then it snowballed on our guys, and then you compound it with. You got to make some of those shots early to keep it close. And we were, one for our first 20, I think, from 3 after we'd been shooting it good. And credit to their defense, though. They guarded us. And, second half, we did a better job. But, we made a couple threes. But when you start out that poorly from 3, it digs a giant hole.
And not to say it's why you lost, but I don't know if I've ever seen in 15 minutes of game action 2 fouls called and both on you. And then suddenly looked like the same game, but they started calling a lot more fouls there in the second half. I mean, I'm not trying to bait you into anything here. I know there's not much you can say, but it was just a weird they certainly let guys play there for a good chunk of that first half.
Oh boy. And that's like they did a better job of adjusting to it as far as, that was their game plan. They were gonna, and then especially when it gets where they're not even near the bonus, then they have freedom to foul.
Yeah.
And, when the last 6 or 7 minutes, and that's also when they got into us more because it didn't matter if they fouled then.
Yeah.
Because there's no free throws. And so they could be even more aggressive. And that ballooned it up, where it was, it could have been manageable if you didn't let it just explode there at the end. But that's why you gotta be able to pin some fouls on them early so then they can't do that.
Yeah. How do you you guys, this is the 3rd game in 7 days. You guys have been going on fumes here. You get till Wednesday to play next week, but it is right back on the road. How do you kind of try to put this behind you and move forward here? Because obviously a lot of meaningful games still to come.
No doubt. And I mean, you think about it, we just played in 2 of the hardest places to play in the country, with one game in between and then, days of travel. And that's just this league. That's what makes it so difficult is, you play at Utah State, play a heck of a game. We have a great, perfect response. And then, you don't have much time to prep, travel, get down here, get ready, and for a Friday night game. But that's the reality of a 20-game league, and that's the reality of playing good teams on their home court. And we've done this to people on our court, and we felt what that's like tonight.
Last thing, I guess, you did outscore them by 8 in the second half. You saw Pearson Carmichael come in.
Yeah.
I mean, I know there's no moral victories, but there were some things you can try to pull from here.
No, there always is, and there's sometimes you flush things, but the one thing the only thing that I'm disappointed about is that the physicality that we allowed them to play with that we didn't play with. Like, come on, we got tough guys, we're a tough team, and they won the war of the trenches. They hit us before we could ever hit them. Now, we were, like you said, we responded in the second half, and it looked more like a fair fight. It didn't look like a fair fight in the first half, and so I was really proud of those guys. And then this is those freshmen's first time in these kind of environments.
Yeah,
it's different. And
it's also different on TV for folks that aren't hearing stuff.
You have no idea.
It's hard to try to explain to people. I'm not saying you would have won this game on a neutral court or something, but certainly whether it's fouls, whether it's those runouts, it just that kind of stuff all adds up.
But teams that have a place like this, they play on that energy, and they that makes them more aggressive, and the aggressive team gets the calls. The more aggressive team gets the calls, and we were a lot more aggressive in the second half, and but they did, credit to them. They did some good things. They're perfect from the line. I mean, they were about almost 50% from three, and they took some of the things away. And then it's a game of made shots. We had a few rattle in, rattle out in the
Tyson
first half.
had that one three,
and then we missed a couple free throws. Just that would have kept it a little bit closer, and then all of a sudden, then you can get a run. But again, that's the life in the Mountain West and life on the road. And, we've got another short porch before another road game at a tough opponent. And so, we're good at regrouping, but this is going to, we got to get our legs underneath us, get our minds right, and go back out on the road and get one done.
Well, no, this is not easy to do after a loss, so we appreciate it, Coach, and safe travels back, and we'll see you in Fort Collins here in a couple days. Leon Rice, nice enough to join us on the postgame show. We're going to bring in Javin Buchanan next as well. Javin Buchanan, I know Papa's watching tonight. 14 points for you. Sorry, you keep getting stuck doing this after losses, man. Hopefully we can do it maybe in Fort Collins after a win, but just another tough one tonight. And I talked to you, I think in Logan, but just this is your first experience at some of these venues and things. I mean, this has got to be pretty crazy for you seeing some of these road venues.
It's surreal. I mean, just being a basketball fan, you see all these on TV all the time. So yeah, it's definitely a blessing.
How do you guys think you handled that tonight? Obviously not very well at times, and it just seemed like some of those turnovers at the top of the key and stuff were just leading to dunks and layups. And once this crowd gets going, it just makes it harder and harder.
Yeah, we didn't handle it well, obviously, but the beauty is we got a game quick, and if we don't get over this, we have to get over this one. So I think that's the only upside to this.
You guys were down, I think, 5 or 6, and then with 7 minutes to go, you're hanging around there in the first half, and then just 23-2 run, I think it was, to end the half there. I mean, I know it was a lot of things all adding up, but just that end push they had to end the first half where everything was kind of going wrong for you guys. How tough was that?
It was tough. I mean, we played a very bad first half, and that really put us in the hole. We tried to chip away, but the first half was just too much. 29 fast break points too. I mean, is that, I guess, one of the keys coming in? And when they get out and run, like I said, 29 points and then 17 turnovers, and I don't know what the final number was, 20 points off turnovers too. I mean, there's a lot of things that happen, but is it pretty easy to boil a lot of it down to just some sloppy turnovers and some of those easy layups and things? Yeah, part of that, credit to them, is their game plan. They try to get it out of our hands. They pressured us, and we didn't handle it well. We knew they played faster in this building. So, it's just we didn't execute. How and you guys, had shot the ball from the outside so well the last couple games, and then I think you started 1 for 18 tonight. Was it just one of those nights where sometimes the ball doesn't go in? Yeah, I guess so. it's one of those nights, but also it's partly their defense. So
yeah. How just the way you guys have been playing, even though you lost to Utah State, these last 3 games feel like you had so much momentum. You're kind of building it. I mean, I certainly didn't see this coming. I mean, how disappointing is this to kind of take a little bit of a step back here with how you guys felt like you were making some progress?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of highs and lows during the season, and that, but obviously with the momentum we had, we felt like we were on a good trajectory, and I think we still are, but obviously we didn't show that tonight.
A guy like Pearson Carmichael gets some minutes at the end and hits a couple threes. Is there, you guys try to find anything you can to pull from these, some positives here moving forward?
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely a lot more negatives than positives, but that's basketball, and like I said, you got to move on some way.
You get back to Boise, and then what's kind of the focus for you guys? You got to go right back on the road again to Colorado State.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure the coaches will get us prepared, and we got a lot of stuff to get better at. So
Leon mentioned the toughness in the first half, and I think he said got punked. Just that, again, surprising for me to see that. What'd you make of just how you guys battled? And they've obviously got with Junior Joseph some big beef on the inside.
Yeah, we didn't battle, me, myself included. We didn't battle in the first half, and that's what dug us in that really deep hole. We outscored them in the second half, but we can't let ourselves get that much down.
And I guess final thing, how do you try to just stay positive? And obviously it's a long season, a lot of games left, and fans, whatever, are going to be disappointed. I know you guys are disappointed, but obviously you got to, you can't let this turn into a loss on Wednesday. How do you guys try to find those positives and keep the momentum trying to be rolling in the right direction here?
Well, the beauty of the game is we have no choice. You're either going to get over it or you're just going to let it snowball. So it's the only thing we can do.
Well, safe travels back, and we'll see you in Fort Collins, man.
Thank you.
Appreciate you. Thanks a lot. Javin Buchanan, nice enough to join us. He's been getting the short end of the straw here, having to do a lot of these after losses. So appreciate him for coming on, and hopefully we can talk to Javin after a win here. Always feel bad. But tough one for Boise State. Lose tonight. We're taking your comments, your thoughts. 84-65. 84 to 65. Great kid. Let's see. Didn't know it was in Fort Collins. Yeah, next game's on the road again. Fort Collins on Wednesday. Oliver Smith, thank you for the great coverage. Hard work doesn't go unnoticed. Appreciate that. Nice of you to say. Let's see here. Proud of the Broncos responded in the second half. If you are looking for some positives, you could say outscored them in the second half. You can say Carmichael hitting a couple shots there. Buchanan continues to impress in his 26 minutes. Jay Tuss put this on Twitter, and Tyson Degenhart was much more aggressive in the second half. You just wonder where that is to start the game. You wonder why it takes so long for him to get going at times. And I'm going to see if I can pull up Jay's, tweet from the first half here. But I think he had 3 or 4 points and only took 4 shots in the first half. He's your preseason conference player of the year. And in a game like this, you have to find a way to get Tyson Degenhart more than 4 shots in the first half. 3 points, 4 shots, and he was 1 for 3 from 3. So in the first half, Tyson Degenhart only took 1 shot from inside the 3-point line. So that's just that can't happen. That's just, I don't know if that's coaching. I don't know if that's Tyson not being aggressive enough. But you can't have your best player take 4 shots in the first half, including 3 of them from behind the 3-point line. Stanley has been so disappointing. But he has a lot going on. These are college kids, now that they're getting NIL money and it's all public. Yes, everybody has a right to criticize, but he is going through some personal stuff, some mental health stuff, some confidence stuff. So I'm going to, choose to say that do they need more from Omar Stanley? Yes. But I'm not going to pin that on him when his coach is talking about mental health and confidence and things like that. Obviously, he's in a tough spot right now, and they got to figure out a way to get him right. And that's certainly tough for everybody involved. But Omar Stanley, yes, there's no way around it. He has his struggles, and his not being the Omar Stanley of old has contributed to where this team is at. He did have a couple buckets early in the game, and you thought, okay, maybe he's going to get going. And then he just, kind of was a non-factor the rest of the way. He had 4 points, 3 rebounds, did get called for 3 fouls, had a turnover in 15 minutes. I think Stanley is a good matchup for a team like this with some of the size and things they have. Boise State, for whatever reason, was trying to front the post on some of the defensive possessions, and then they were just tossing it over the top. There was 3 or 4 possessions in a row where they were just getting beat down low. And so I didn't think the defense was particularly good. They obviously had a plan to try to attack Nelly Jr. Joseph, and it obviously didn't work, for that one. Let's see. Leon needs to be more passionate. He never seems upset when you don't watch him during the games. He was super mad today. He was literally got in one of the referees' faces and was literally clapping right in his face when he finally called a foul. I thought he was going to get a technical. I was stunned that he did not get called for a technical foul when he got right in the ref's face and was clapping. I was, he was, he was passionate, but also like, what do you want him to come over here and say? Just that, that they should quit the rest of the season. I mean, yeah, he's fired up. I'm sure he's given it to the players and stuff, but that's just not something that he's typically done is in the media, just go off on the team or go off on the players. So I don't know if that's, you want to criticize him for that. That's fine. There's certainly things to criticize for. But I don't know. That's not one I'm going to focus on, is him not getting upset in the media about the team not playing well. He said they got bunked, and no, the refs are not why they lost the game at all. I don't know who was saying that. It wasn't me. Certainly wasn't me. But he was, that was pretty crazy. 15 minutes into a game, they had called 2 total fouls. I've never seen that before in a game to see the lack of fouls they called. I'm not even saying that the calls were right or wrong. I'm just saying 15 minutes, 2 fouls. That's crazy. They certainly let them play in the first half. Let's see what we got here. And no, the refs did not lose them the game. The team is so inconsistent. Can't stand this. Not willing to invest any more time. Okay, Tom. Well, appreciate you and take care, man. If you got better things to do with the rest of your Friday night, go for it. This is still a team that is 13-6, 5-3 in the Mountain West. And, they were, would you have felt differently if they lost by 1 tonight? I know it stinks. They played terrible. It was one of their worst games of the season. I'm not sugarcoating it, but it's not. They were supposed to lose. They were underdogs by 4 points. So I don't know what. If them, maybe it was the way it happened. I don't know, but the loss was what was supposed to happen tonight. So if this is the game and in this atmosphere, in this environment, when they just beat San Diego State by 15 whatever last week here, if this was the game that now says you're done, see ya. Go ahead. Let's see. Some of these fans don't know anything about Coach Rice. My old neighbor, Selvey, chiming in. Appreciate you, Selvey. Always been calm and composed. Stop with that kind of talk. I'm not going to come on here and defend Leon or rip on Leon. Like, they didn't play good. They played great. Like, I'll say, they did not play great. They played terrible. They played awful. Like, there's no way around it. They were not ready to play today. As Leon Rice said, they got punked. They got manhandled. They were rattled by the crowd. They just were not ready to play tonight. So is it because, something just hasn't clicked? And I know a lot of people say it's because of Chibuzo Abo, and that is certainly something they were not expecting to happen. Chibuzo Abo leaving for USC was a huge blow to this team. They tried to replace him, but that was a blow they were unable to replace. And tell you what, for all the haters and hate that Max Rice got, this team could use a Max Rice that could knock some 3-pointers down and wouldn't be afraid to let it fly in an atmosphere like this. So I think Max Rice and Chibuzo Abo both were massive losses for this team. And I think Abo obviously is the one that you were expecting to have back when you were building this team. So I think that is probably the one that hurts more, because you knew Max Rice was leaving. You didn't know that Abo was leaving until he went in the transfer portal. So that's a big one. And this team just has not been able to replace him. Someone was asking me, who's my starting 5? I think it's got to be, let me just circle names here while we're talking, and then I'm going to go through and see if I'm at 5 or what. But I've got 4 right now. I got Julian Bowie, Tyson Degenhart, Alvaro Cardenas, Javin Buchanan, and I'd like to go back to, if you go big, you can go back to Omar Stanley, which is what you had that earlier in the season. You could go with Meadow, I guess. Meadow's been doing all right. I guess you could go Andrew Meadow for your 5th guy. But I think Degenhart, Cardenas, but I think Buchanan and Bowie. I think Julian Bowie and Javin Buchanan both probably need to be in the starting lineup right now with the way they're playing. I have really liked what I've seen from Julian and his toughness and being not afraid to shoot and let it fly. And then also Buchanan has been great as well. So man, this is certainly a tough one, man. Did not see this coming at all. But I think, again, put it in perspective. horrible loss, terrible loss. They and the biggest disappointment, I guess, if you're a fan, is probably just the way that they, like I said, the lack of compete there for that 5-6 minute stretch to end the second half. They just, when they were down 6, and then it was a 23-2 run, 23-2 to end the half for New Mexico. And they just blitzkrieged them, as Leon has said in the past. And it was just one of those nights. And it didn't help that no shots were falling. They were 1 for whatever they were on threes to start the game. We're going to be joined momentarily by our man Abe Jackson, but I do want to thank a few sponsors real quick. We'll get Abe's thoughts. Ropaint.com, our title sponsor. ROEpaint.com. Ropaint.com, our title sponsor. All your painting needs. Hit up Ropaint.com. TacoBellWorks.com. TacoBellWorks.com. SON Management, the Nicolason family. We appreciate them for their support. If you're looking for a job, you can hit up TacoBellWorks.com and Taco Bell. The food's pretty darn good as well, so check them out, TacoBellWorks.com. We mentioned Tyson Degenhardt. He's with ICCU, Idaho Central Credit Union, ICCU.com. All your banking needs. Hit up Idaho Central Credit Union. The Raines family's happy we made the switch, and you will be as well at Idaho Central Credit Union. Well, I guess, only got to 65 points. So, besides losing by 19, they don't get to 70. So you don't get the hot dog and fountain drink at Jackson's. But when the Broncos do score 70, you get a $2 hot dog and fountain drink at Jackson's, courtesy of Jackson's. I think a banana comes with that as well. But don't forget, 25 cents from every hot dog sold goes to support the Horseshoe Collective at Boise State. And they donated $100,000 in 2024 just off 25-cent hot dogs. So support the sponsors, folks, and that includes our post-game show sponsor here, Jackson's. We bring in our man, Abe Jackson. And Abe, kind of leaning back. I mean, time for a cold one. We didn't see that one coming.
Sometimes there's games that are easy to talk about on the air, like Wyoming at home. And sometimes there's games that are just a little bit tougher to put together a broadcast. But what a rough night for the Broncos, especially that first half. Just nothing seemed to go right. The turnovers, the pressure. I mean, they couldn't handle the pressure at all. Anytime the Broncos tried to go toward the hoop, the double team came, and then you just saw them fade away. The handoffs, the on-ball screens would be at the three-point line or even inside the three-point line. And then by the time the person who came off that screen passed the ball, they were 3 to 4 feet behind the three-point line. I mean, it was just pushed them away, and they just had trouble getting anything going.
Yeah, and I think we talked about it on the pregame show, or maybe it was with after you'd gotten off with Jeff, but the one thing you cannot do in this building is let them get out and run. And all those turnovers and the fast break points. I mean, I think they had 18 or 20 fast break points in the first half alone, and that 23-2 run to end the half, they were just – Boise State was having trouble getting the ball across half court with some sloppy passes and things. And next thing you know, it's a 3-on-1 break. And when this crowd gets into it and they're running like that, it makes it really tough.
Well, at half, if you took the points off turnovers and fast break points, it was 39-0 in those two categories. Boise State did not have a point off a turnover. They did not have any fast break points. And what was weird to me, I mean, I guess I'll just use the word weird. The fast breaks weren't off of turnovers at the three-point line. They weren't off of three-pointers that hit the rim and jetted off to, the three-point line. They were misses in the paint that big guys were getting and then outletting, and then they were beating the Broncos down the court. I mean, it was just –
which can't happen.
I mean, it's just one of those things that you take a look at and you just kind of think, man, there's not really a game plan to put together for that, right? It's just get back on defense. I mean, I'm sure that's going to be on film. But I guess the thing for me that's such a head scratcher with this Boise State team is that there's no middle ground. Yeah. I mean, it's kind of like a three-point shooter that is super hot and then super cold. And at the end of the year, you say, okay, they were a decent three-point shooter. But I mean, you get a Bronco team that scores 90, then you get them that they were at 1.1 for 20 from three. It's just and I'm not looking for consistency I don't want, 42% every single game. But man, maybe those swings go to 50% and then only to 32 to get to your 42 instead of scoring 96, scoring 65, and then you have a good average.
Yeah.
I mean, there's some things to look at this film, and they're going to have to deal with those traps in other games because every single team in conference is going to take a look at this film and say, Broncos did not handle that well at all.
And Alvaro Cardenas, he was out there doing the best he can. 4 rebounds, 6 assists, 5 points, but 7 turnovers. He was at times just trying to do a little too much out there.
Well, it's all of his movement seemed to be away from the hoop and from those double teams. You come off of a double team in so many other games, he's turning that corner and then all of a sudden things open up, right? Kick out to the shooters, dump off to the big guys. He came off the screens, the double team was there, and instead of going down to the hoop, he would just start fading away, and you have to because there's a bunch of pressure in your face.
Yeah.
So how do the Broncos combat that? I mean, do they go away from the screen a couple times to go away from that double team and just hope you can get by your defender? They're going to have to come up with a plan because other teams are going to be doing that.
How surprising do you? I mean, I just didn't see this coming. I mean, I
didn't either.
The way they had been playing, I wasn't sure they'd win, but I mean, certainly as Leon Rice said to me that they got punked, in that first half. I mean, just the toughness and just the lack of competitiveness there during that run, especially to end the half. I mean, you're looking up like, wow, they're down 25 points. I mean, it was I just didn't see this coming.
Well, no, this was definitely not. I mean, they had, even though they lost at Utah State, I mean, there was 3 really good offensive games in the 80s, 79 against Utah State, in the 90s against Wyoming. So there was nothing that was going to tell me they were going to be down 27 and hardly score any buckets in the first half. But I mean, it was really everything. It was turnovers, then you couldn't get stops off the turnovers. It was not getting back on defense. And then when you did get back on defense, it just looked like there was some major breakdowns. There was about 3 times where the post player was fronting Nelly Jr. Joseph, and then they just tossed it over the top and gave and got an easy layup. And so it was either that the post wasn't supposed to be fronting at that time, or he was, but the help side wasn't there. So I don't know which one it was, but there was about 3 buckets in a row, it seemed like, to Junior Joseph, where the post for Boise State, whoever it was fronting, and they just threw it over the top, and there was no help.
Yeah, no help at all. By the way, I'll put this on there. Did you see the sign they had on the TV broadcast? Apparently, just can't write. Which is funny because it looks like there's a letter there that they don't know if they couldn't spell right either, but at least they're reading right. I'll take it, I guess. They're reading. I don't know. Like John Mallory sent me that. There's a photo. I'll get it up there. Someone commented on it that at least they're reading my stuff. Hopefully they're a subscriber. But Abe, anything? I mean, I know there's no moral victories, whatever. But I mean, Pearson Carmichael comes in, hits a few buckets. It's another game, I guess, for these younger guys just to play in this atmosphere and stuff. But just can you pull anything out of this that you liked, or do you just rip up the stat sheet and move on?
You're going to look at film, and Coach Rice talked to us about that after the game on a KBOI. It's that he said sometimes you take a look at film and you just flush it, but sometimes you take a look at it and you say, well, it's not really maybe as bad as we think it is, but they're going to pull some things out of this game. And I honestly think the main thing is, 1, transition defense, and 2, handling pressure outside the 3-point line. Those are the 2 things that really turn the game, because you look at points off turnover, that was a direct effect of that pressure at the 3-point line, and then just getting back on defense. They got out and ran right by them.
And they started 1 of 18, I think. I don't know, maybe it was worse, but at one point Boise State was 1 of 18 from 3-point range.
It was it got to 19. I don't know if it got to 20, but
they ended up hitting 3 or 4 at the end.
They were at 5% at one point from 3, and then they ended up getting a relatively okay percentage at 21 is where they ended.
5 of 24. I wouldn't say that's a.
No, but I mean, better than 5%.
Yeah,
they were sitting at 5%.
20.8%. And Jay Tuss had a stat there with about 3 or 4 minutes left in the game. 475 games in the Leon Rice era, and that would have only been the 6th time that they'd only made 1 3. So they do make a couple at the end there. They were flirting with some numbers there. And is that just, I mean, they'd had 27 the previous 2 games. Is that just numbers evening out? Were they bad shots? I mean, Tyson had one that was in and out that at a big time that would have helped it and stop that run at one point. But just what'd you see from the 3-point?
I think it's all predicated on that pressure, on the pressure that New Mexico brought on those double teams, because it's so hard to get open shots. The Broncos didn't have a lot of open shots. I mean, there was a lot of shot clock winding down and tossing something up. So then when you do get a shot, you're like, finally, I'm open, and it doesn't go in. Maybe you start pressing a little bit. Okay, we haven't gotten a good look in the last few possessions. Oh, okay, I have one now. Maybe we start pressing a little bit. That pressure outside the 3-point line that took all of the momentum, instead of going toward the hoop and creating away from the hoop, I had a trickle-down effect on a lot of things.
All right, Abe. Abe Jackson, you're wearing a Boise State logo here when I ask this question. You get part of your paycheck by Learfield and the Bronco Radio Network, and you're a former player. And so I know you're not going to come on here and be overly critical at all or whatever, but I've got, multiple people in the chat, and I would just like your opinion or your perspective on this, calling for a change in leadership at the head coach position. They called for it after the Utah State game. Leon Rice, what he has done with this program, where he was at, you've seen the good, bad, and ugly of this program. I've heard the Mike Tomlin argument and all this. Hey, a lot of good, good to great seasons, but just can't get over the hump. Whatever. We're hearing it all. But just for the folks in there right now that are unhappy with Leon and unhappy with the direction of the program, which I think is craziness. Just what would your response be, or how would you, if someone came up to you and said Leon's got to go, what would you say?
I would say, what do you expect? I mean, what would you want to be the replacement for that? I know someone's going to say, well, we need to win a tournament game. Okay, I agree. We need to win a tournament game. That would be nice.
Yep.
But I mean, what do you want in? I mean, what would a coach do over a 15-year tenure that you would want, other than the 3 NCAA tournaments in a row, the most wins in the history of the program? I mean, yes, bad loss tonight. I mean, it really was. And I guess, fans can kind of fly off the handle sometimes. And, and now there's a platform for them to say it and actually get their comment. Hey, look, they're talking about my comment. That's pretty cool, huh? So, I mean, they get to say what they want, but to make a change, I think would be ridicul's right now.
I agree. Oh, not right now. Definitely.
Well, not right now, but even at the end of this, even at the end of the season,
lose every game the rest of the season. It would be. My whole thing is like, when I tell people this, is like, chances are, like, you're not going to find with the resources they have, the conference they're in, like what they've done, and all the 20-win seasons, and it'd be pretty hard to find another guy to come in here that I think could live up to what Leon Rice has been doing. Yeah,
I think it'd be tough. And again, the question is, I mean, what do you with 30 games in a season? I mean, what do you expect? I mean, what is the expectation? If you're one of those people that are saying there needs to be a change, what's your expectation? Going 30-2? Going to the Final Four? I mean, I don't know what the expectations are from what Coach Rice has done. There's so many games in a basketball season. There's going to be ups. There's going to be downs. At the end of the season is when maybe that conversation that people can talk a little bit more about it. But there's so many games left. 4 to 5 losses, I think, is going to win the regular season of this.
Yeah,
league.
I wanted to turn off Twitter there for a while because I had several people on Twitter that were saying that, and I saw at least one or two, I think, in the chat. But I guess how do you spin this forward here? Ugly game, I mentioned. You
Sure.
try to pull some things from it, but long trip home, and then you get a couple days but then it's right back on the road again.
Back on the road in a tough place. I mean, Colorado State, I don't think they're really what they have been in the past few years, maybe, but it's a tough place to play, and they have maybe one of the most athletic wing players in the conference in Nick Clifford, who could put 20 up in any game. So they're going to have to come back. And that's what we've seen this team do. I mean, you couldn't talk about a more emotional loss than at Utah State. I mean, that was just brutal. And then they come back and they put together probably their best game of the season, at least the best game in conference. Now, the trick about this one is that they are preparing and they got to go on the road again to another really tough place to play in Colorado State, who can pack that gym sometimes and make it a really loud arena.
I just got this stat sent to me. In the last 13 games from the Boston College loss till now, Andrew Meadow has one more assist than you or I do. How do they get Andrew? He's been contributing, but how do they get him going in some other areas than just scoring at times?
Well, I think from Andrew, you're looking for scoring and rebounding. When you have someone that handles the ball as much as Cardenas, there's going to be guys that aren't really getting that many assists because he's giving you double digits in assists sometimes, and he's making the majority of the decisions to get the ball to those shooters. So, I mean, not a lot of assists for Andrew Meadow, but I think with Al Cardenas out there, it's going to be taking away assists from some of the other people.
Well, Abe, appreciate your time as always. Safe travels back. This is for once. I'm not getting left in the hotel. Maybe I'll bump into you in the lobby or something tonight. It's been lonely at some of these road games where you guys all jet back after the game. But appreciate you for making time, sticking around, and for Bob for waiting. We talked about the second half of that Wyoming game. You guys were having to come up with stuff tonight. Second half, unfortunately, for a different reason, was a little similar.
I feel like in games like this, I just kind of stay quiet a little bit more. I just let Bob run with it a little bit.
Didn't. I mean, they won the second half by 8. They played better, and I mean, even when they scored the first 6 of the half, you're like, maybe there's a miracle comeback.
Yeah.
And then they even had a couple chances, and they just couldn't get.
Well, they did a great job on the defensive end. They were holding New Mexico for the first, I think, 6 or 7 minutes, 22% shooting, but the Broncos were only shooting about 45%, which is decent. But when you're down 27, you got to be getting a bucket almost every time down the court.
All right, since Bob's not ready yet, I'm going to ask one more. Someone says, what would your starting 5 be There's been a lot of juggling with the lineups and things. I think Javin Buchanan's at a point now, not just because his dad's watching and commenting, but I said earlier, I think he's done enough for me that he needs to get back in there and probably be a starter. But for you, what do you think's the right 5 combination right now?
I mean, there's a lot of guys. I know this is a bad game, but there's a lot of guys that are playing well. I mean, Lockett's playing well, Bowie's playing well, Javin, of course, is. And the big question mark, I think, is what do you do with that 5 position? I mean, where do you put with Ugbo and Anderson and Stanley? That's where your big question mark is. I think you can obviously dial in Degenhart and Cardenas. I think you put Meadow in there, and then maybe throw Buchanan, and then have the carousel of your 5 men. So it could be a work in progress all season long. But I know you want to get off to a good start with your starting 5. But some of those guys off the bench are playing pretty much starter minutes.
I really like what I've seen from Julian Bowie.
Yeah,
I think he's fearless. He's not afraid to let it fly. I think whether it's this year or next year, he's an emerging star.
Mm-hmm.
And with Lockett's continued improvement, and Carmichael and Meadow and Buchanan, and I know nobody wants to hear this, but I mean, whatever happens the rest of this season, I do think that they have a nice young core here.
They do, and they've progressed, and that's something that you can see with the young players and the new players, like Javin as well, is that they have progressed throughout the year. You can see the improvement. I would say, especially from those freshmen that you just mentioned, Lockett and Bowie, from the beginning of the season to where they are now. I think you can really see kind of the confidence and some of those floaters inside and taking it in traffic that Bowie was doing tonight. He would not have taken that shot earlier on in the season. So he's those guys have improved. I like watching them grow.
Appreciate you, Abe, for doing this. And after getting done on the Learfield Bronco Radio Network call with Bob, and we'll see you in Fort Collins.
Sounds good.
Thanks, man.
All right,
Abe Jackson, there he is. Hey, we're going to thank a couple more of our sponsors, and we'll keep taking your comments and your thoughts after Boise State falls tonight by 19 points. The final score 84-65. Boise State falls to New Mexico. Hey, Snake River Pool and Spa, patio and game, thespateam.com. Locations in Twin Falls, Boise, Meridian, Nampa. Been around since 1978, part of the Boise State home team. Whether it's a spa, whether it's a sauna, whether it's a pool table, check them out, thespateam.com. Hey, half off Fiesta Bowl gear at the Blue and Orange store. So if you want to get some gear and commemorate a heck of a season for the football team, 50% off for a limited time. The Blue and Orange store, order online, theblueandorangestore.com from anywhere in the world, or just go to the Boise Town Square Mall there next to Pro Image, and they've got the player jerseys and things. They have some Ashton Genty gear left as well. So support the NIL game, support Bronco Nation News with our sponsor at the Blue and Orange store. Hey, Lithia Ford of Boise has some great sales going on right now. They've got a lot of deals going on and a lot of support that they're doing of Boise State student athletes and coaches and things. So you're not going to find a much bigger supporter of Boise State. I was texting with Jim Sturk from Lithia this afternoon. So just go support Lithia Ford of Boise for that next car or truck. If you need that 4-wheel drive, all-wheel drive vehicle with the weather getting icy and cold, it's a perfect time. LithiaFordBoise.com. They can go in there and take care of you. Rain's family's loving our F-150 from Lithia, and you can as well. And like I said, that they're just great people, and they do a lot to help Boise State student athletes and coaches and administrators. So Lithia Ford Boise, check them out online, LithiaFordBoise.com. We will have to pick up Matt Bauscher Real Estate Player of the Game. Bauscher Real Estate, BauscherRealEstate.com. All your real estate needs, whether you want to buy a home, whether you want to sell a home, they can take care of you. Matt Bauscher and Bauscher Real Estate. Best in the business. Rain's family found out firsthand just why he is ranked the #1 realtor in the Treasure Valley. Matt Bauscher. Check him out online at BauscherRealEstate.com. And Ridley's Family Markets. Shop Ridley's.com. 13 locations across the state of Idaho, surrounding states. Ridley's Family Markets. Shop Ridley's.com. We appreciate Mark Ridley and company. And again, shopridleys.com. You can go online, download that Skip app, get savings up to 40% off from the checkout line. Downloading that Skip app at our friends at Ridley's and Ridley's Family Markets. By the way, I do have the picture here. Thank you to the New Mexico fan that showed up on the broadcast here. Appreciate you for reading. There's only one way to know that, and that's by reading. So appreciate you for the page view, and let me know if you're interested in a free subscription. Whoever you are out there, if we can get a hold of the guy holding up the sign. I'm sorry I didn't see him live. I would have given him a wave or a smile. That's clever. People could have said a whole lot worse things about me than I can't write. So I I will take that. And dude, if you want a free subscription to BNN, we'll hook you up. So reach back out and we'll see what we can do. All right. Let's see. Zach Covert wants me to go to his bachelor party. And how does Circa treat bachelors? Well, now we know why, because you want me to hook you up at Circa. But yeah, maybe we can. I don't know. We can see what's going on. Reach out, I guess. I'm Circa would take care of you. I'm sure if you let them know you're a BNN supporter, that Circa loves BNN folks. So let's see here. Just winning a tournament game would be huge in terms of fan support, recruiting. Doubt it happens this year, unfortunately, though. You never know. I mean, the at-large is not certainly looking good, but wasn't looking good for some other teams that have gone on to win the tournament. I mean, New Mexico won 4 games in 4 days. And I mean, the way Boise State played against Utah State the other day, they could beat anybody in the league. The way they played tonight, they could lose to anybody in the league. So, yeah, does it look likely that they're going to go on a magical run here? No, but I'm not, we're still going to cover the rest of the season. We're not ready to declare the season over at this point. BJ, what happened tonight? Well, we've spent 45 minutes talking about it, and I'm not sure we really know at this point. They just got, as Leon Rice said, punked. They got dominated in every facet. They did show some heart in the second half and ended up winning the second half, I think, by 8. But overall, just a disappointing performance. Coming off the huge win against Wyoming, a chance at a marquee win. The only game in the country on. I know it's Friday night at 11, but I didn't see it coming. I just did not see it coming. They didn't have the physicality to match it. And in this crowd, and, this is why, and I'm just going to say it short and leave it because fans will say I'm ripping on the fans, crowd, whatever. But, come to one of these games and then go to a game at Extra Mile Arena. Go to Logan and then go to Extra Mile Arena. It's not even close. And I'm not saying they would have won this game. The refs didn't, cost them the game, whatever. They played terrible. I get it. But especially early in the game, the crowd just makes such a massive difference here. And Boise State just never was able to get in the game. The crowd got them off to an 8-0 start, a 10-2 start. Boise State was rattled, a couple missed shots, a shot clock violation, some turnovers early in the game. And the crowd is a game changer. Home crowds, home court advantages in the Mountain West is a really, really big deal. Utah State, it's why they win a lot of games, because they just find a way with that crowd to just intimidate teams and find a way to beat them. Here at the Pit, same thing. This was a game-changing type crowd tonight, and the last 2 road games have been better than any Boise State home game this year. I'm sorry, I hate to say it. It is what it is. These atmospheres have been significantly louder than anything at Extra Mile Arena tonight. And I'm not singling out the administration. I'm not singling out fans. I don't know how you fix it, but for a team that's won 82% of their home games in the Leon Rice era, that number could be 92% if they had an atmosphere like we had tonight at the Pit. So I know they don't have the tradition, the history of basketball at Boise State as they did maybe at some of these other places. I know the Pit's a historic venue. I get it. This place is special. I always love coming here. And I can't help every time I come to a game like this when I just think about what it could be like at Extra Mile Arena if they're able to find a way to someday have the same kind of atmosphere on the road as they do at home. Facts. All of our bad losses have been on the road or neutral court, and our home court is pathetic. I'm not going to quite go that far. I'm just going to say it's not as good as some other venues in the Mountain West. Right now, you'd have to put for sure the last 2 road games, Logan and New Mexico, above Extra Mile Arena, and then you got to put San Diego State, and Viejas Arena above it right now. So right now, Boise State's home court is no better than 4th in the league. Let's see. Extra Mile Arena can be rocking at its best. It's genuinely elite. Gets elite once per year. It's every night at the Pit or Spectrum. Time for Boise State fans to step up. No 2 ways about it. Yeah, Nathan Carroll, totally agree. And Nathan was the one that gave me the Andrew Meadow 1 assist stat, by the way. So thanks for texting me that, Nathan. But yes, it's 2 up or down. And these places, no matter who they're playing, no matter what it is, they bring it every game. And I don't know if this is true or not. Average age of the fan at Extra Mile Arena is 75 years old. I get dirty looks and yelled at when I stand and yell. Again, I'm not trying to make this into something where we just rip on the Boise State fans. All I'm saying is, I'm not saying Boise State fans are bad. I'm just saying, come to a game at the Pit, and it's not even the same on TV. Come to a game at the Pit. Come to a game in Logan. Come to a game in San Diego. and then try to tell me that Extra Mile Arena is a game changer, because it's really not. And like I said, Boise State still has won 82% of their home games in the Leon Rice era. They won 82% of their home games. They probably have one of the best home winning percentages in the league. But just think if it was even better and they weren't losing the game like they did to San Diego State, 2 weeks ago, and some of the other games that they've lost at home. So over the years, so it is what it is. The whole point of saying that was just to give this building a shout out, because it is it's a special place, and it certainly got you're a college kid and the entire arena, 15,000 people are cheering against you. Like, it's tough. So the shot clock violations, some of that stuff, like, it happens. And until you come see a game in this venue, it's hard to really truly justify. Let's see. Frustrating how inconsistent the team has been. Yeah. I mean, that is again, can't disagree with you. It's been really up and down, and it's been great win, and then a game like tonight, great win. I wasn't sure they'd win tonight, but I did not see this coming. And is that, on the head coach and the coaching staff for not having them ready to play? I mean, I guess part of it, probably so. I mean, yeah, you got to put that on the coaches for not being ready to play tonight. Leon Rice would say that himself. I mean, that's the coach's job to have them ready to play, and they clearly weren't tonight. It was a bad game all around. They weren't ready to play. Defensively, gave up too many open threes, and just had some trouble, in the post with Nelly Jr. Joseph, trying some different things. Nothing really seemed to work. It was just one of those games. Boston College loss makes me sick. Yeah, that's a tough one. That is certainly a tough one that for a whole season is going to, I mean, you look at their KenPom page, they're only projected to win like one more game the rest of the season. Like, I mean, that was just the flukiest of all fluky games. Boise State was up 9, I think, with like 8 minutes left. And this dude that like had never made a shot outside of 3 feet all season hit like 3 jumpers from the free throw line. That was just crazy. Is fronting Nelly on the coaches. I mean, yeah, they were doing the coach's game plan, and it obviously didn't work. Now, we don't know if the next guy was supposed to do something different and the help didn't come or what. But yeah, I mean, they're not just out there doing whatever they want to do. They're doing what Mike Burns, their defensive coordinator, tells them to do. So if the defense didn't do a good job, that's bad job by the coaches on the defense. I mean, yeah. I mean, it goes both ways. I mean, they didn't execute what the coaches wanted them to do, but also if they're, able to have that kind of success and the coaches are the ones drawing up the schemes and the plays, then, that's no way about it. No way that it's not partially on the coaches in that standpoint. Yeah. The defense, again, has been a big problem this year. Boise State was 50 at KenPom. They dropped to 56 after this one. So basically right back where they were before the Wyoming game. But the, Boise State's offense is 36th. The offense has not been the problem this year, 36th in the country, but the defense 91st at KenPom right now. The defense just hasn't been good enough. Last year, the defense finished 29th at KenPom. 2 years ago, 28th. 3 years ago, 20th. Top 30 defense each of the last 3 years, and it's 91st right now. I mean, that's the difference. I mean, it was even in 2021, it was 64th, and then it was 81st in 20. You have to go all the way back to 2019, 2018, 2019, like 6-7 years ago, to find a defense that was worse than it is right now at KenPom. So, if you want the good news, KenPom only projects Boise State to lose 3 more games the rest of the season. He's got them losing by 1 point at Colorado State. He's got them losing by 6 at San Diego State, and he's got them losing by 3 at New Mexico. He still projects Boise State to go 21-10 and 13-7 in the Mountain West. Now, is that going to be good enough to get an at-large bid? No, likely no. But you know what? Try to finish as high as you can, get a decent seed in the conference tournament, and see what happens. I mean, obviously that would be a disappointment if you come into the season with this high of expectations and are not able to get to the NCAA tournament. But they've still got 14 games left or whatever it is. They've played 8. I guess they have 12 conference games left. So you win all 12, you're in. So, I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say they're for sure out of the tournament. The season's been a failure, but yeah, it's not looking good. They're on the outside looking in right now. They, really need some sort of miracle 11-1 type of finish, 10-2 type finish to maybe put themselves in position. But right now, that's the furthest thing, or that should be the furthest thing from anybody's mind. And if it's disappointing, yeah, it is disappointing. Came in with high hopes, and like I said, for whatever reason, it just has not clicked. And I don't know if I do think missing Chibuzo Abo and Max Rice, are huge losses. They've just struggled for whatever reason. The pieces just haven't fit. It's just been a weird year. The pieces haven't fit. At times they've flashed it. You still feel like there's a lot of talent, and it would not shock me if they go on a run here. It would not shock me if they, play really well and respond and win on Wednesday at up in Fort Collins. It would not shock me if they won 3 games in the Mountain West tournament. We can afford one more loss at most for an at-large. Wouldn't you agree? I guess it depends who it's against. But yeah, you're pretty much would you? So here's a good one. Let me finish that first. One more one more large at-large loss, probably so. I mean, yeah, it's not looking good. If they win out, they're probably getting it. But if they lose 1 or 2, they don't. So I 1, maybe 2, depending on who it is. But yeah, I mean, the at-large is not really. We shouldn't be talking about that right now. They have to just go on a run here and put yourself in the best position possible for the conference tournament. And then it is unfortunately going to probably come down to 3 games in Las Vegas. All right. Would I trade a Chiefs loss this weekend for a Final Four run for Boise State? A simple trade for your loyal subscribers. The answer to that is hell yes. Yes, yes, yes. I would trade a Kansas City Chiefs loss for a Boise State Final Four run. Yes. I would love for all of you Boise State fans to experience a Final Four run. As someone that has seen his alma mater win 2 national championships at Kansas, there is nothing better than a March Madness run. And you guys have been waiting a long time for 1 win, let alone 4. So yes, and that would be great for business. I would love that. That would be awesome for business. I would 100% take that in a heartbeat. Chiefs could go 0-17 next year. I would trade that for a Final Four run, no doubt. So, crazier things have happened, but they've obviously got a lot of things that they have to figure out before that would even be coming into the picture. But that is kind of, hate to say it, but that's kind of what you're playing for at this point. Get the best seed you can in the conference tournament. Make sure you get a first round bye. Make sure you're not playing in the 6-11 game or whatever on the first day. Finish in the top 5, get a bye, and see what happens. The season's not over, as Nathan Carroll says in the chat. It's 1 game at a time. But I think right now your focus is win as many games as you can, get the best seed you can for the conference tournament, and and take your chances down in Las Vegas. I think that's unfortunately what you're looking at right now. Would Boise State decline an NIT bid? Lots of teams are doing that. No. Boise State's not the kind of team that can turn down an NIT bid. No, for Degenhart, for Stanley, Cardenas, those guys are going to want to play as long as they can. Who knows where Tyson's going to be in relation to trying to break the scoring record. I mean, that would be one, I guess, stinker, unfortunate thing, but it'd be a kind of cool way to finish the season if they did make the NIT and got a home game. And that's what, and that's where Tyson Degenhart was able to break the school scoring record, at home in an NIT game. I mean, that's, I guess that'd be better than him not getting it at all. But let's not talk at large. I mean, that's, I know you guys want to talk about at large. You're trying to pick games and all that, but no, I'm not saying it's dead, but so much has to happen before you can, before that comes into the conversation again. And there's no point, there's no reason to be talking about at-large bids at this point. Just focus on winning as many games as you can, see where it ends up at the end of the year. And, like I said, position yourself in a good position to make the, to have a good seed and a good, path for the conference tournament here. The thing I would say is it's not like any of these teams are unbeatable. I mean, New Mexico looked unbeatable tonight at home, but you don't play at home in the conference tournament. So let's see, what it looks like in Boise. But Utah State, they could have beat them at their place. San Diego State was a game down to the end. I mean, I don't think there's a team in this league where, I just don't think there's there's no way they can beat them. So, I wouldn't be feeling great about it right now, but it certainly you wouldn't go down there thinking they have no chance to win the conference tournament. So, you've now seen New Mexico and Utah State in person. Which team is better? I'm gonna say New Mexico. Maybe it's recency bias, but I mean, they looked a lot better tonight. Obviously, Boise State almost beat and frankly should have beat Utah State. I mean, Utah State's a solid team, but Utah State for me just doesn't have a lot on the interior. They don't have a presence on the inside. They got a lot of great guards, but I think you can get Utah State if you have a good interior presence and can control the glass on the boards, which they, Boise State was, obviously didn't take enough advantage of the size of the difference, but I don't think Utah State's, is really that strong. I know the big guy was sick and has been sick the last couple of games, but I don't think that I just don't think they're as lethal or scary on the interior as some of these other teams. And you see what the combination of Donovan Dent and Nelly Jr. Joseph is one of the best interior-outerior combos maybe in college basketball. The way that Jr. Joseph can score on the interior and how physical he is, and the way that Dent can get in the paint and do what he does, and also some of the passes that he makes. I mean, Donovan Dent is he's a heck of a player, man. He's got to be in the leader in the clubhouse right now for maybe not clubhouse. The season's not over, but as we're approaching the midway point of the conference season, I think Donovan Dent's your conference player of the year right now. I think he's been huge for a team that's in first place at this point. So just one of those games. A lot went wrong. Not much. You just kind of crumple it up and throw it away. I mean, like I said, you were projected to lose if you're a Boise State fan, and so from that standpoint, you kind of did what you were supposed to, or what people thought you would. But that's no saving grace when you give up a 23-2 run to end the half. Jay Tuss had that stat. I knew it was bad. I didn't realize it was that bad. 23-2 run to end the half, and they were just non-competitive, and they just really. You thought for a while there, you're like, wow, they're down 27. Like, is this going to balloon to 40? It was just like, give them a little bit of credit for making it a little more respectable. I think they lost by 19? They outscored them in the second half by 8. So at least they made it a little more, respectable, but it was really, really ugly. New Mexico led for 39 minutes and 14 seconds, led by as many as 29 points with 7 minutes left in the game there. So, I didn't see this coming, and there's not a whole lot more you can say about it. Coaching, players, everybody just wasn't good enough tonight. Coaches, obviously, whether it was they didn't have them ready to play or whatever, just the toughness, the competitiveness they needed in the first half just was not there tonight. And you got to regroup in this league. You don't get a lot of time. Boise State's chartering back tonight. They may already be airborne or heading to the airport right now, and then they'll head back to Boise, get back about 2:30 in the morning, and get to bed 3:30, 4 o'clock, and then take tomorrow off, and then have to get back to work for another road trip on Wednesday. There's no easy nights in the Mountain West, as you've seen. It's anybody can beat anybody on any given day. With San Jose State 3 days ago beating this same New Mexico team, you never would have saw that coming. Some of the other scores we saw, Utah State losing to UNLV. It's just it is one of those leagues, man, where there's no easy night, and Boise State's going to have to dig deep. And it's obviously they've in the past been pretty good at responding. I don't think they've only had like 7 back-to-back losses in the last 5 years. They've done a really good job of not letting one loss turn to 2, but now they've kind of alternated win-loss here for the last couple of weeks, and they've got to find a way to turn it around and get it going in a positive direction. But I'll say this: Javin Buchanan, Julian Bowie, Chris Lockett, Pearson Carmichael, these kids, even to an extent like a Dylan Anderson who didn't play much for Arizona, they're finding out this is big time college basketball here. And even an Andrew Meta, who I know was part of it last year, but just going on the road to some of these venues, 15,000 fans just screaming at them. And the last 2 games have been unbelievable. It's just, it's a good experience, and they're going to be better down the stretch and better in future years because of it. But this league is no joke, man. Every night's a battle, every night's a war. And in some of these venues, man, the crowd, and it's just, it's a lot of fun to cover this league and cover this team. But it's been probably an eye-opening experience for some of these freshmen and newcomers to see some of these atmospheres and crowds and things. Let's see. Tyler says, how do you feel after a game like tonight, having to fire up the post game with the fans? Maybe I was not super excited to talk to Coach Rice after this one. And I don't know if it was better. He was fine tonight, but he came to me first before he went on with Bob and Abe, which usually never happens. But I guess they had Javin Buchanan first with them, and then he walked down. And they had him come to me first, I guess, for timing. So I wasn't sure if that was going to be good or bad, that his first chance to talk about the game was with me. And maybe he cools down sometimes after he talks to Bob and Abe and then talks to me. I don't know. But, wasn't super excited for that. Wasn't sure what he would say, but I'll give Leon Rice credit. He knows that we have a job to do in the media, and very rarely does he kind of get. There was one time with Colin Mitchell a couple years ago at Nevada, my part-time employee, where he was really, really short with him and gave him like a 45-second interview. But I can't remember too many other times in my 12 years here where he hasn't given you, giving you the time for an interview after the game and been respectful. And I will say that he knows we have a job to do, and he's, I know some fan on here was mad about that he doesn't get more fiery in the post game and all that. Colin is Colin is watching the show right now. It was definitely a short interview of like 45 seconds or so. I felt really bad for Colin. I was at the Kansas bowl game, whatever game that was, the Liberty Bowl, I think, a couple years ago, and let Colin go to Reno, and that turned out to be a bad decision on all parts, I guess. But I would just say this: Leon is very respectful, and he knows you have a job to do, and he, I give him a lot of credit for that. I do. Let's see. Much respect grinding that out. Yeah, I mean, I'm not trying to just throw softballs at him, but you can kind of tell early on what kind of mood he's in, and I thought that he was, looked like he was fine talking about the negatives and things, so you just kind of went with it, and pretty sure that was the game when Blackshear hit a game winner at the buzzer. I think was it who was the Serbian? Pavlik Kuzmanovic, I think, hit a shot and then didn't play very good defense right after that, and they gave up a shot right after that. Let's see here. What else we got? Looking at some comments and things. I'm not sure who this is. I'm sure there's a couple trolls in here, it seems like. Can I teach my jump shot? I'm money from 3. Could not tell you the last time I hit a 3-pointer, so appreciate you for saying that. But I can make a free throw. I can take down Johnny Ballgame in a free throw contest. If I don't have to move around, I can just stand at the free throw line. I can make you a free throw, but I'm not. I am not the one you want. Playing in a pickup game or shooting 3-point shots, because I'll be out of gas a couple times up the floor. Seth says at large is cooked. Yeah, I mean, it's looking that way. It's not looking good, but they went out, they're in. So let's see here. Do a great job navigating it. Thank you, Tyler. Appreciate you for saying that. Colin the Legend. No, there were no baseball highlights played. The student section did sing "Take Me Out to the Ball Game" at one point. But that was, I know earlier today they played a baseball game during the shoot around, which Jeff Grammer said some New Mexico athletic department staff were not happy about that. A few years ago I did the workout with a team. Yeah, with Phil Beckner. I had this great idea to do one of his workouts myself, and that was about 5 minutes in. I was regretting that. Chandler Hutchison, all the players were like watching me do this workout, and it was like the hardest thing I've ever done, and I was really fat and out of shape, and it did not go well. We had like 25 minutes of just ball handling and other stuff, and I was so gassed and hadn't even taken a shot yet. And then finally got to put up some shots, and I think with some nice editing I made a couple there, but overall it was not a strong shooting performance. We'll just say that. Let's see what else we have here. Never know what will happen. Let's go Broncos. Yep. You never know. Like I said, I'm always the optimist. I'm not giving up on the season, but I'm also a realist here that they're going to have a lot of work they got to do. But you just take it one game at a time, see what happens, and as I said, you just put yourself in the best position for the conference tournament and see what else. And you're 2 games out of first place right now. I mean, as crazy as it seems, you're 2 games out of first place. You still play the teams that are ahead of you again in the standings. So if you win the regular season in this league, you got a good chance of getting in the tournament. So try to win a league title, try to beat these teams and see what happens, and just kind of go one game at a time and see what happens. That's pretty much it. Not a lot to take positively from tonight. You did get more contributions off the bench from Javin Buchanan, who I think it's time for him to probably go back in the starting lineup. Nothing against Emmanuel Ugbo, but I think you probably need to just go a little small. Maybe at this point, maybe it's Degenhart, Meadow, Lockett, Cardenas, Buchanan. I mean, that lineup seems to work pretty well. I don't know exactly what they do, but they've been searching and trying, and nothing has really seemed to work yet. They played 11 guys against at least 5 minutes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep, 11 guys got at least 5 minutes and 52. By the way, Andrew Meadow was the team worst, -22 in the plus-minus. Tyson Degenhart was -19. Cardenas was -13. Bowie -9. Omar Stanley was +2 in Omar Stanley's 15 minutes, Boise State outscored New Mexico with Omar Stanley on the floor. So he had a couple nice buckets early in the game, and then again just really couldn't get into much of a rhythm, and he only played 15 minutes tonight, 2 of 6. So I think it might be time for Stanley to get some more minutes as well, and kind of let him work through some things instead of pulling him out as soon as he has one mistake there. But give New Mexico credit. Donovan Dent had 16 points, 7 assists. Nelly Jr. Joseph, 16 points. Mustafa Amzil had 11 points. And they just did what they had to do tonight. Impressive. They were almost 50% from 3. Shot 54% for the game. And Boise State shoots 43%. The number got a little better late. But Boise State was 1 of 19. I think Jay Tuss had from 3 to start the game. I know it was 1 of 18, but I guess it was 1 of 19 is what it ended up. And before they hit a couple at the end there. But overall, 19-point loss. We're down by as much as 29 at one point, and just you move on and you get ready for Colorado State next week. So tough one. Certainly not what anybody expected, and what folks were thinking would happen. I agree with Matt. He says, I think you put Omar back in the lineup. You can't get a rhythm playing in and out such few minutes. I mean, yeah, he does have a lot going on. We're told confidence issues and things like that. But when they don't have another obvious guy, I think that it's probably time to go back to Omar and give him a shot here. At their best, are you taking the pit or the spectrum? The pit all day long. I like the spectrum. It's a different kind of atmosphere, different kind of noise. Their students just take up so much of the crowd at the spectrum, but it's also smaller. It seats about 10,000. This place seats about 15,000. This place is just a bigger arena, and I think the overall energy from start to finish, it just gets loud in here. And when they make a bucket, man, this whole place just, you feel like the roof is just caving in. So I like both of them very much. So it's like a 1A and a 1B, I guess. But if I had to pick one, I would probably take the Pit. I think the Pit's probably my favorite. And San Diego State's up there as well. I mean, Boise State's played well there the last couple of years, so it hasn't been quite as loud. We'll see what it's like here in a couple of weeks. But it was loud tonight, and those fast break points, what they finish up with again, 29 fast break points. And that's, where you score basically in transition without setting up an offense. To get 29, I mean, a typical game, you might get 10, 12, 14. To get 29 points, almost over a third of your points in transition, fast break points is crazy. That is absolutely crazy to me. And they had 20 points off turnovers as well. So a lot of that was just Boise State with a sloppy turnover, and they would just quick pass and the guy gets a dunk or a layup, and that was that. So not much to like tonight. I mentioned Pearson Carmichael. He was able to score 8 points, maybe get a little confidence going. I'd like to see him maybe continue to play a little more. RJ Keene got in there and had 3 assists and also some rebounds. Tyson with 14, like we said, Buchanan with 14, but Alvaro Cardenas, man, 2 of 7 from the field. He had 7 turnovers tonight. He did have 6 assists, but you just feel for Alvaro, his final trip to the pit, and he just, was trying to do too much at times, and it didn't work out well for him. So it is 12:21 a.m. here. I think they're getting ready to shut the lights off on me. Got the security guy kind of seems antsy over there in the corner. So I'm going to pack up, head back to the hotel, and write my story. So those of you that are a paying subscriber, I know you probably nobody wants to read this, and I don't blame you. But if you do get up and want to read my thoughts tomorrow morning, we'll have a story when you wake up at BroncoNationNews.com. I'll go back to the hotel and write that. And that's a good. One positive for me is my family made this trip. We had it planned for 3 or 4 months that they were going to go to this game because we're going to Las Vegas for the weekend to watch some football and let my kids play some video games. And we're going to go to the St. Louis Blues Golden Knights hockey game on Monday. So a little family time this weekend and get away from work for a few days and, go see a hockey game with my kids and watch some football and see all my friends over at Circa tomorrow. Looking forward to that. So, looking forward to a fun weekend, and I'll try to quietly sneak into the hotel room because I'm sure they're all fast asleep. But I totally get it. If nobody wants to read my story, that's fine. But when you wake up, there will be a story. I'll go home and write it. BroncoNationNews.com if you're a subscriber on there. And so I got to hand it to you guys, though, as I wrap this up. Like, it was much more, I don't know. I was expecting it to be much more negative. Not to say it wasn't negative, but I think folks put it in perspective nicely. Horrible loss, but not time to think about anything drastic in terms of coaching changes or whatever else. But yeah, the season is teetering, and it's a key spot here. You have to find a way to win one game Wednesday at Colorado State, and then kind of just see what happens. And maybe, you know what, maybe this is actually it. We've accepted the season's over. Didn't lose on a buzzer beater. I mean, maybe both of those are true, and maybe some people are just saying, you know what, I'm not going to get mad anymore. It is what it is. This team's not great and not going to have a great season, and maybe that's fine. Maybe people are just not. Maybe apathy has set in, and people just don't care as much. But I was expecting a little more hostility. I thought I was going to have more folks, negative, and there's certainly a lot of you that are negative. But I thought it was just going to be a little more drastic in terms of some of the, people calling for certain things and things. So I don't think I ever said that, Larry. Did I say that Cardenas was better than Dent? I don't think I did. I think that Cardenas was having a better season or stats than Didon Thomas. That was the what I was talking about. Didon Thomas was the, but I don't think I said Cardenas was better than Dent. Dent's a heck of a player. I think Cardenas is pretty good, but I don't think I ever said that Cardenas was better than Dent. Dent's on another level right now, scoring the ball, passing the ball, what he does in transition. So I like Cardenas. I feel bad for him. He had a bad game tonight at a bad time, but I still think he's one of the better point guards in this league. But I'm not going to argue. He's, even as somebody that covers Boise State, I'm not going to argue that he's better than Donovan Dent. I think that Donovan Dent is, I think I said earlier in the show, probably the Mountain West Player of the Year right now. Jeremiah says, overall, all that happened tonight was Boise State losing a game they were expected to lose. Sky isn't falling, still a good team. That's a great perspective there. I mean, the way you lost, I get it. You lost by 19. You were down by 29 at one point. I mean, it was a, dare I say, pathetic, embarrassing, lifeless performance there for a good chunk of the game. And then, you're down 27 at halftime, which, by the way, Leon Rice didn't make it back out. And it is a long walk, and maybe the timing was messed up, but he didn't get into the huddle with the team until there was 7 seconds left on the clock. I don't know if anybody at the game noticed that or if they showed it on TV, but, they're in the huddle waiting, and, Leon Rice isn't even there. So Burns and Duryea started talking, and then Leon got in there and said something, right before the halftime. So Leon didn't even make it down until the very end. And you're thinking, okay, maybe there's a chance. And then I think they had 5 seconds into the half, the fans were standing, and I couldn't see it. The way they have us here in the media is we're actually the 6th row behind these comfy chairs. So when the fans stand up, you can't see the play. I think that it was 5 seconds into the half. There was a jump ball or a turnover or something right away. It just. You go, maybe the second half will be different. Nope, first play, 5 seconds in, turnover. Just wow. But they got off to a nicer start. I think scored the first 6 points, made it be New Mexico call a timeout, and like I said, won the second half by 8. So YouTube comments are pretty negative. Paid guys must be nice fellows. Let's see what else we got here. Spoiler, the story will be about the refs. No, I don't even know how much I'll mention the refs, but they were not the story. The story was, and I'm not even saying the calls were wrong. I've just never seen 2 total foul calls in 15 minutes. And I've never seen one team get called for no fouls in 15 minutes. I mean, there's 4 minutes and 55 seconds left in the first half when the first foul got called on New Mexico. Now, I thought there were some fouls they probably could have called on both. But it almost felt like it was a competition. They're going to see how long they can wait till they blow their whistle for a foul. I mean, it was there weren't any egregious ones they missed, but there were certainly ones they could have called if they wanted to. Some bumping and things like that. But again, I'm not even saying that they missed them. I'm just saying whether they were right or wrong, I don't care. I've never seen 4 minutes, 55 seconds left, the first foul called on a team. And at that point, Boise State only had 2 fouls themselves. So 2-0 and 2 fouls in 15 minutes. And then somehow for the game, we finish up with 29 fouls. So only 2 fouls in 15 minutes. And then all these teams just magically change their style of play, and you get 24 fouls, I think it was, in the next 35 minutes or whatever. I mean, it just it was supposedly a good reffing crew tonight. Those guys were all ranked, at KenPom and stuff. But it was just weird how they didn't call any fouls, then started calling a lot of fouls. And that certainly did not help Boise State because, and by the way, New Mexico, a terrible free throw shooting team. I mean, you go look at the numbers, and they've probably already been updated on KenPom, but New Mexico is not a good free throw shooting team. Even with tonight and what they did, they are still 283rd. 283rd in the country in free throw percentage at 68.7, and it was worse than that coming into the game tonight. So New Mexico, one of the worst free throw shooting teams in America statistically, went 15 for 15 tonight at the foul line. So again, not the reason Boise State lost, but New Mexico, not a team that makes a lot of free throws, made their free throws tonight. New Mexico, not a team that makes a ton of threes, went 7 for 15 from three tonight. Boise State just let them get out and run, let them get in transition. This place was rocking, and it was a tough night for Boise State. And refs were fine, just hope for consistency. I'm not even saying they were bad. I'm just saying I've never seen that many that discrepancy of 2 fouls in 15 minutes and then 27 fouls in the next 35. Just crazy. So appreciate you guys. Thanks for joining us. That'll do it. As I said, I'm sure none of you want to go read a story about that loss, but if you do when you wake up, we'll have it up there for you at BroncoNationNews.com. I think I do have a couple sponsors I need to thank here still, so we'll keep this going a little bit longer. If you have any final comments or thoughts, let us know. Transportation Compliance Service, TCS, transcompservice.com. They can help you get into the trucking industry. If you want to get into the trucking industry, it's a local company helping folks all over the world. Transcompservice.com, the DOT overweight, all the permits and things you need. Let them know, transcompservice.com. Hit the scale today before I left town, 33 pounds down. That's right. From the October UNLV football game to today, almost 3 months, I'm now 33 pounds down. You probably can't tell it in my face because of the beard here, but 33 pounds down, still another 33 I'd like to lose, but I am down, and it's largely because of Lean Feast. LeanFeastMeridian.com, healthy meal options, healthy eating, all different various diets. It's good 5 days in your refrigerator. It's good 2 minutes in your microwave, and you're eating steak, shrimp, chicken. So order it on a Monday. Have your food all week. They can deliver anywhere in the Treasure Valley. Highly, highly recommend our friends over at Lean Feast. And Signature Roofing, the sponsor of our voicemail line. I didn't see any voicemails in there. I thought I might have a few. Maybe it's too late. But speakpipe.com/BNN. Get one in tonight, tomorrow, Sunday. We'll play them on Monday with Mike Prater. Speakpipe.com/BNN is the website, and that is courtesy of Signature Roofing at mysignatureroofing.com. They've been covering our community for more than 20 years, a locally owned roofing company. And whether it's a re-roof or repair, you need a free estimate, inspection, they got you covered. Signature Roofing at mysignatureroofing.com. Super thankful that we hooked up with them. They've got an NIL deal with RJ Keene, so we're thankful to Signature Roofing. And final chance, if you want to get in the VIP basketball experience to Las Vegas, that's right. Bronco Nation News is going to pick a lucky subscriber, and you get to go on a private jet down to Las Vegas for the game here in a couple of weeks. 2 tickets to the game, a night hotel at Circa. We're putting up a lot of money for this package, and it's to thank all of you and our loyal subscribers here at Bronco Nation News. So if you're already a subscriber, you're going to be automatically entered. If you're on the fence and we hope that you just want to read our content and support our coverage, but if not, maybe this will push you over the top. Anybody that is a yearly subscriber, when we go to do the drawing here in a couple of days at Circa, you'll be in. So $50, 1 year, BroncoNationNews.com, $50 using that promo code BNN50 deal for your first year if you're a new subscriber. Jump on in. We'd love to have you. And again, this is courtesy of Ridley's Family Markets and all of our great sponsors. Hopefully, Mike Prater's coverage and his columns, and Nathan Carroll and myself, hopefully that's enough. But if not, we'd like to entice you with a chance to win a private jet trip for 2. And another reason you may not want to read this story tonight, because I just can't write, according to the New Mexico fans. And like I said, he must at least have read something I wrote, so I appreciate the page view. And it was all in good fun. Like I said, he could have said a lot of worse things about me, and I've heard way worse. So all in good fun. It looks like he's looking over at me, and I wasn't paying attention at that point. So apologize. If anybody can figure out who that is and have him reach out to me, if he wants it, I'll give him a free subscription to Bronco Nation News. I'm sure he probably doesn't, but just kind of had fun with it, and appreciate the comment there and the funny comment there. They put Jeff Grammer on the flex cam. Jeff Grammer got the crowd going crazy. He's the real celebrity here. They put him on there. When he did it, everybody was going, "Oh, Jeff Grammer!" And so good for Jeff getting on the flex cam during the game. Again, our title sponsor, RoePaint.com, ROE Paint.com. All your painting needs. hit up our title sponsor at rowpaint.com. And this was a Jacksons postgame show. They did not score 70 tonight, but when they do score 70 points, you can get a hot dog and a soda for $2 2 days later at Jacksons. But don't forget, 25 cents from every hot dog sold goes to support the Horseshoe Collective. So they donated $100,000 in 2025 or in 2024 to the Horseshoe Collective. $100,000 just off 25-cent profit from a hot dog. So your money goes a long way. Go ahead and support them next time you're looking for some snacks and things. And we appreciate Jacksons for their support of the post-game show. So thank you guys. Appreciate it. Appreciate you for sticking with me. Almost 90 minutes here at 12:30 at night after a 20-point loss at the Pit. I was wondering if people would even want to watch this or even be on here tonight. But overall, it was good, pointed comments, and I think a lot of good criticism, fair criticism, warranted criticism in certain areas, and overall, just not a good night at the Pit. Tough loss for the Broncos, and they'll try to rebound Wednesday when they are back on the road at Colorado State. Of course, Bronco Nation News, the only local media outlet that will be there again. You got Bob and Abe on the radio side, and then Bronco Nation News, and that's it. It's anybody else tweeting or watching the game, unfortunately, in terms of the local papers and stuff, are at their house, back in Boise. And I don't say that to be negative towards them at all. Their papers make those decisions. Their TV stations, I wish they were traveling. They wish they were traveling. I hate to see it in this industry. So it's not a negative on anyone that's not here. I just say it to show you that your subscription dollars and your support of the sponsors makes it possible for us to be the only outlet here that comes. So it's not cheap to go on these road trips. And yes, this one I'm bringing my family, whatever. It was a pre-planned vacation. I get it. My subscription money is your subscription's going to pay for my family vacation. I've heard it, believe me. But this was a pre-planned, couple-day trip for my kids. It's been a long grind with football season and basketball season, and we've gone to this hockey game like 3 years in a row now, so that's going to be fun on Monday. But in general, Colorado State, all the road trips, it all costs money, and this coverage costs money. So those of you that are subscribers, I really appreciate it. I really do. You get, hopefully the coverage is reciprocated with a live interview with the head coach, 15 minutes after the game, a live interview with a player after the game, the radio guy, Abe Jackson, sitting down for 15 minutes. Like, hopefully you're thinking your subscription money is worth it. If not, let me know what I can do to sweeten the pot and make it worth it for you. We're taking all the suggestions, criticism, everything that we can. We're just trying to, provide the coverage that you diehard fans deserve. You guys are passionate fans. You're very loyal fans of Boise State, and you deserve that kind of coverage. And it's, like I said, frankly, very disappointing to see that the cuts that a lot of the other local outlets have made in terms of not traveling and things like that. And so whenever I mention that I am, the only one that's traveling, I don't say that to brag or to boast. I say that you're $50, you're going to Taco Bell, you're going to buy a car at Lithia or switch your bank to ICCU. All that stuff adds up, and it allows us to provide this kind of coverage on a daily basis. So have a great rest of your weekend. Enjoy the football tomorrow and Sunday, and we'll talk to you guys, I believe, Tuesday morning. I don't think we're going to have a show on Monday with it being Martin Luther King Day, and me being down here in Las Vegas. So Tuesday morning we'll have a show with Jay Tust, and we'll get you set for Wednesday's game at Colorado State. Appreciate you guys. Thanks for sticking with us. Again, a 90-minute show. You just watched it for free. So the least you can do is go to Jacksons or go to support one of our great sponsors and get your painting done with rowpaint.com. We would really appreciate that if you support the sponsors and allow us to keep this coverage going and these shows free of charge on YouTube. So have a great rest of your weekend. Sorry for the loss. Tough one, I know, for Boise State, 84-65. But the sun will come up tomorrow, and there's another game here, another opportunity in a couple days for Boise State to bounce back and still still a lot of games left. A lot of things can happen, and we'll see what happens, on Wednesday in Colorado State and at the rest of the games here moving forward. So the Jacksons postgame show, final score 84-65. Boise State with a disappointing effort here at the Pit. We're in the Western Collective Studios here courtside, and of course our title sponsor and the presenting sponsor of Bronco Nation News is rowpaint.com. So as Tyler says, everyone please like and subscribe at a minimum here on YouTube. If you're watching on YouTube, if you're watching on Facebook or X, flip over to our YouTube channel, give us a quick subscription on YouTube here at the bottom of the screen, and we'd love to have that. And a lot of games left. Stick with the coverage, BroncoNationNews.com. Good, bad, or ugly. We'll be at every game and trying to give you our thoughts and follow this team the best we can moving forward here. So thanks again. Have a great rest of your weekend. We'll talk to you Tuesday again. Final score here from the Pit, 84-65. Boise State falls in disappointing fashion. They'll try to rebound on Wednesday against Colorado State in Fort Collins. And, of course, Bronco Nation News will be there. We'll talk to you later. Bronco Nation News live from the pit. This has been the Jacksons Postgame Show from the Western Collective Studios, presented by our sponsor, rowpaint.com. My name is BJ Rains. We'll talk to you guys later.
Bronco Nation News is presented by rowpaint.com, Idaho Central Credit Union, Taco Bell, by Lithia Ford, The Blue and Orange Store, Western Collective, by Jacksons, Snake River Pool and Spa, Transportation Compliance Service, Boucher Real Estate, Ridley's Family Markets, by Circa Las Vegas, Lean Feast, and by Timberstone Golf Course.